know there's a lot of listeners out there that'll listen to this and other podcasts that are sort of starting, their fitness journey. What do you recommend that beginners look for when choosing a gym? Because there's a lot of choices and there's a lot of, everything from Global Gym, Planet Fitness to the next boot camp to CrossFit to personal training to Pilates and yoga, right? Where it's like information overload. But do you have any tips and recommendations for people that are looking when they're choosing a gym, what they should be looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it starts with the client or the person who's looking, figuring out what level of service are they looking for, right? Because we know there's really two different clients. There's a client who's like, I could do this stuff on my own. I want to do this stuff on my own. So where do I go to seek that out? Versus a client who's like, I cannot do this stuff on my own. I have no clue. There's so much information out there. I just want somebody to tell me what to do. And I want to work out in a group. And there's other services that offer something like that. And so, depending on the client, like a lot of really good gyms can offer both, where it's like, hey, a gym like yours or mine, they offer one-on-one training or they offer individual design where the client comes in, they just need the path, but they're able to do a lot of this stuff on their own. They might just need a facility to do it in, right? If you're entering a facility like mine or like yours, like I think base level, there needs to be some sort of contact point with the client to where it's like, hey, we're going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation with you about what you want to accomplish. We want to figure out if we're even the best fit facility to help you accomplish that. And then we need to assess you from a level of where's your fitness at, where's your limitations at, what kind of pain you might be going through, what does your work life look like, do you have any pre-existing injuries? Like there has to be a level of conversing first before there's a level of experiencing the service. And so if you're going into a facility and you're reaching out to them and you're talking to a human, first things first, and secondly, you're meeting with this coach or this person who's going to be working with you, and they're having these conversations with you to figure out what the best plan of attack is, you're in good hands, right? And then from that, I think that is like base level on somebody who's starting out on their fitness journey, understanding like, hey, there needs to be a level of hand holding in the initial phases to figure out what's best for you. And then we can kind of figure out the direction that you want to move from there. And then the last thing that I'll mention too is, you get what you pay for too. Like if you're shopping for gyms and you're looking for the cheapest product, understand that you're going to get a cheap product if that's what you want to pay for it. But if you're looking for, kind of not even a white glove service, but you're looking for sorry about my dog's bark. If you're looking for an approach that's going to be individualized to you and it's actually going to provide you the outcome that you're looking for, like expect to pay for that because there's a lot of value in that product.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like we pre-qualify, everyone that comes through our doors because we are like the Tesla of gyms and so are you. So like you're getting that individualized connection, the plan of care, the whole process versus walking through, signing a membership form at the front desk, and then you're going in. And I've heard for years on how many people do that. And then they get there, they have no idea what exercises to do, how to do it, how much to train, nothing. There's no guidance at all. And so you're exactly right. You get 100% what you pay for. And I think more people should take that advice for sure.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Josh, too. And I'll use myself and probably you as an example is like, if I'm seeking out a gym space, I'm a previous competitive athlete, I have no pain, no limitations. I have great autonomy. Like I could do whatever you tell me to do. I just need somebody to tell me to do something. Like I'm not going to go to your gym. I'm not going to go to my gym where I'm going to pay a premium to get a white glove hands-on service. I kind of want a gym to where I can go in and you could just throw me into the group because I know how to move. I can figure stuff out on my own. And I really just want to work out and I want like a group workout. I want to work out with other people. Then like by all means, seek that on out. But I think the client has to figure out what they want, what they need, and then seek that facility out that's going to be able to provide that. Because if I walked into like your gym or my gym, I can appreciate that consult. And I'm totally willing and able to pay and compensate for that consult. But then from that consult, like individual training may not necessarily be what I want might be what I need in your opinion or whatnot, but if that's not what I want, that may not be the best fit facility for me.
Yep.
And the same, and I'll use us as an example too, is like, let's say that our average avatar, our average client is somebody who is looking at improving their quality of life, minimizing pain, and just looking, feeling, functioning better.
Mhm.
That's the client that I can serve. If somebody comes in, they want to take their deadlift from 600 pounds to 700 pounds, like, not only can I not help you get there, I don't want to.
Yep.
So I'm not going to just sign you up from a membership. I'm going to divert you towards, maybe other facilities that I know in the area that will better serve you as well.
Yeah, we have the same exact avatar for sure. And I've seen, like what you had said with the examples with me and you, are probably out of, let's say, 10 clients that walk through our door, 9 of them are the ones that will need more of an individual start to their journey. The autonomy piece, like where we would be, is not a good starting spot for them. But what's interesting is with the right coaching, over 6 months, a year, 2 years, they get there. And then, it's off running for them. And that's a good day when you see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just going into, when we have people that come to us, we know nothing about nothing of them, right? And so the best way that we can figure out more information about them is to offer our time and to sit down with them and figure out more about how we can help if we do want to help. And oftentimes, right, we get to the point where it's like, we absolutely can help this person. Let's move forward on this journey. Or it's like, you know what, we're not the best fit for you. But until you're actually having that sit down, and this kind of circles back to somebody who might be looking for a fitness service, until you actually have that opportunity to chat with somebody to figure out if this is the right gym, if we have the right process for you, like, they're not going to know. And so circling back, like, if somebody's just starting out with fitness, figure out what kind of fitness service you want, and then make sure that you're able to have time to talk to a human being and, answer and ask different questions to figure out if this is the right space for you. And if it's not, then do the same thing elsewhere. Go find that same introductory service elsewhere.
So I asked this next question to quite a few people, and I'm really, really interested to hear your answer with this. So we've had the COVID pandemic the last year and a half, and that is what it is. And so, but why do you think that the major media and the decision makers decided to ignore talking about natural immunity and overall building a healthier individual, like, supplements, exercise, fresh air, relationships? What? There was no mention at all of that during the last year and a half. Why do you think that was?
Great question. And I'm not highly educated on the information behind my answer or my opinion on this, but I can give you what my belief is. And I think that there's an agenda out there that they're pushing and that they want to push. And if we look at, like, this is what I believe too, and I think it's wholeheartedly true just based on what we're seeing in America today, but there is a massive big pharma, big food agenda out there to where it's like, in order for there to be profitability in capitalism and for money to be made, like, we kind of need disease, right? We need disease to be able to push pharmaceutical medication. And if we're able to push pharmaceutical medication, then we're going to need for people to, make lifestyle decisions that aren't conducive to support health and well-being. And so I think it's just this relationship between these two massive corporations where it's like, nothing is going to change, nothing is going to be done, because there has to be massive amounts of money made within our community to say, hey, if we know that these people are majorly or have majorly or a massive amount of access to foods that aren't going to support health and well-being, or outlets that aren't going to support health and vitality, then we know that there's going to be a big pool of opportunity to push pharmaceutical medication. And then also another problem is just misinformation out there. You got all these multiple different sources that are giving different types of information to where people are just so effing confused. You talk to your current members and, like, they're still pushing the same, saturated fat BS and,
Yeah.
and all this, like, hey, well, I'm not using butter, I'm using, Land of Lakes margarine. It's like, how is this still even, possible that people know this stuff? And then it comes down to reflecting as a coach, like, what can I be doing better to have a greater effect to educate not just my population, but a greater population out there as well. But circling back, like, I think it's just this big agenda where it's like, over the COVID period, they want our country doing one specific thing. So they're going to push what they want them to do, and they're going to shun the rest. But then you have your niche populations like you guys and us, and the ancestral population, the paleo population, being like, guys, there's a powerful combatant out there, and it's just literally doing the things that we were created to do. Eat real whole food sources, move your body more consistently, right? Social connection, get outside, sleep well. It's like, you guys can combat really a lot of things, much less the COVID, the COVID crisis, with just doing things that we were made to do as human beings.
Yeah, but all the things that you just said doesn't increase profits, right? So, like you had said, the pharmaceutical side, the big corporation side, I believe that and you said the same thing, but the sicker we are as a country, the better it is for a lot of the decision makers and the big corporations, the government, and so, yeah, I don't think there's any interest whatsoever in promoting true health.
Yeah, I would agree. And I've had recent conversations with clients too, where it's like, it's kind of frustrating. They go to their doctor's office, their general practitioner or whatnot, and it's like, you have high cholesterol, or you have this autoimmune condition called lupus or whatever it is, and it's like, what I can do is I can prescribe you this medication that you're gonna have to take for the rest of your life, or you can you can change your diet. Okay, I want to change my diet. Can you kind of carve out what that looks like? Yeah, just eat some more nuts.
Yep.
Okay, well, what else? Well, that's all the information I have for you. I got to get to my next appointment.
Yep.
It's like, that's not helping anybody, especially people that are walking into these professionals office and seeking help, but not wanting the option that they're giving them, whether it's pharmaceutical medication, injection, surgical repair, whatever it might be. They want an alternative option, but there's no education, there's no information to give them what that alternative option looks like.
Yes.
And then that's where guys like us come into play,
Yes.
or health coaches or whatever it is. But then, like, if you don't have the letters by your name and you don't have the authority, you're not seen on the same level.
Yep, for sure. There are, I think, many more people coming to that realization, though, that there are real, true facilities and health coaches that have that broad knowledge on helping people with, more than just learning to squat better. So yeah, it's refreshing to see people coming to that realization. So like, looking forward, I'm really curious what you think of this, Asia, but the future of gyms, like there was over 9,000 gyms in the United States that closed in the last year and a half. They closed their doors. In New York State alone, there was just over 1,000, because of our draconian laws and whatnot with shutdowns. Like, what do you think the future of gyms is?
That's a tough and a loaded question. I think the cream will rise at the top, and I think there's always going to be a space for brick and mortar, but I think there's going to be trying times like the COVID period. I mean, if you look at your gym, you look at our gym, like pre-COVID, like crushing it, right? Wheels are turning, this is a well-oiled machine, and it's like, now we're just in a different time. We're leaner schedule-wise, we're leaner membership based, we're leaner, staff and whatnot. But I think the good gyms will figure out ways to pivot, and as long as there's a passion there and helping individuals and finding and carving out the true solutions on how to not just help people, but also figure out a way to like be compensated and valued for your time, your energy that you're putting forth, there's always going to be, a space for brick and mortars or gyms in general. If they're able to pivot and they're able to work for it. I think obviously now COVID shows us that there's a big opportunity in the space for virtual services, individual design and whatnot. But I think we're now starting to kind of, that's still very, very popular, but I think we're now coming to that time where you're starting to see people who are somebody who I don't like to train alone. I like to train in a group. But during the COVID period, that lasted me a year or 2 years or whatever, you're starting to see that downfall where it's like people are having a hard time doing this on their own. They're starting to come back into seeking group settings and seeking environment, seeking connection. But as far as like the gym of the future, I think they're going to need to they're going to need to do things differently that's going to separate them. And I think that, like, if I look at your gym, if I look at our gym, like being able to offer a multitude of services, but also standing behind what you guys do and why you do it the way that you do, and believing and being completely like bought in and convicted that the way that you're doing things is the right way to do things, and separating yourself from the market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got, when you look at all of these gyms that people have access to choosing from, it's like, well, they're all kind of the same. If you look at it from a standpoint, what do they do differently? And then having those gyms or those brick and mortars figuring out what do you do differently, and then figuring out a way to speak that in volumes to your community so that you can have the opportunity to tell them more of how you do things differently. And I think the individual approach, the one-on-one training approach is kind of like the way of the future for gyms to help, really help people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like, if we look back at our gyms too, like we're at fault for being like, well, I think I was helping people, but like, you know, Chris is coming in and he wanted to lose 100 pounds, but like 5 years down the road, he's still 100 pounds overweight. It's like, I'm not really helping this person. So what's a better way for me to help this individual, but also help myself and make this like a sustainable career and be compensated my value? And it's like that individualized approach is a really great way to helping people, truly helping people, not just saying you are, but then also carving out like a career for somebody to do this and like support a family and live in the area rather than coach endless amount of classes for $15 a class.
For sure. And it's unfortunate that a lot of gyms have sort of positioned that viewpoint as the career outlook, right? Like, you know, you're coach for minimum wage or slightly above, and then, you know, you coach 15, 20 hours a week, and it's always a part-time hobby type thing versus a true career. I could do a whole talk on that, I'm sure, with you. But yeah, I think, yeah, if you're in a professional setting being paid a professional wage, your coaches stick with you. And I know they have with us, and we're looking for more people to continue to grow, but you gotta treat them like it's an actual career, you know?
Yeah. You gotta carve out that path for them. You've got to show them that there's opportunity, there's a way. But then you also, you know, these coaches that are expecting these things too, they can't be spoon fed. They have to kind of build they've got to have the autonomy to have the same skills as the owners or the head coaches themselves to go out and, you know, feed themselves.
Yeah.
And I can't speak higher for corporations like OPEX or, you know, ProPath like we're on, where they're cultivating the coaches to do this. And it is a burden off of the shoulders of the owners and the head coaches, where it's like, okay, now I don't just have to take this information and do my best to regurgitate it to my team. It's like, there's mentors, there's educational platforms, there's portals where they could do the same. And then it's just the coaches are helping facilitate.